Imagine waking up one day and deciding to change one thing about your life. A choice so simple, yet it unravels everything you know, alienates your family, and challenges the very fabric of your society. That's the haunting premise of a book which delves into the existential questions of what it means to be human. Hi, I'm Rithima. Welcome to The Old Trunk. Today we're deep diving into The Vegetarian by Nobel Prize laureate Han Kang. This South Korean novel is as unsettling as it is beautiful. Buckle up because this review is going to unpack the story, characters, writing style, and why this book hit me so hard. Before we move on, I want you to note that this book deals with heavy topics like mental health, violence, and gender dynamics. So check content warnings if you're sensitive to those. Let's start with the story itself. And don't worry, I'm keeping this spoiler free so you can experience the book's twists and turns for yourself. The Vegetarian, first published in South Korea in 2007 and translated into English by Deborah Smith in 2015, is a slim but mighty novel. It won the International Booker Prize in 2016 and it's Han Kang's breakout work in the English speaking world. At its core, the story follows Yong Hai, a seemingly ordinary housewife in Seoul whose life takes a dramatic turn after she makes a personal decision inspired by a vivid, disturbing dream. This choice ripples outward, affecting her relationships, her sense of self, and the people around her in ways that are both intimate and profound. What makes this book so unique is its structure. It's divided into three parts, each told from the perspective of a different character connected to Yong Hai, her husband, her brother in law, and her sister. We never get Yong Hai's direct point of view except through brief, dreamlike fragments, which adds this layer of mystery. The story explores themes like bodily autonomy, societal conformity, desire, and the tension between nature and human expectations. It's not a light read, it's raw, visceral, and sometimes uncomfortable. But it's also deeply poetic and layered. I found myself thinking about it long after I turned the last page. The story feels universal, even though it's rooted in South Korean culture. Han Kang has said the themes aren't specific to Korea, and I agree. It's about the pressure to fit in, the cost of rebellion, the fragility of human connections. But it's also not a book that hands you answers. It's more like a mirror reflecting your own questions back at you. Okay, a little disclaimer here. The character names are Korean and I could be butchering some of them, so I'm really sorry for that. Now let's talk about the characters who bring this story to life. The characters in The Vegetarian are the heart of the story, and Han Kang does an incredible job of making them complex, flawed, and deeply human. Let's break down the four main players: Yong Hai, Mr. Chong, the brother-in-law, and In Hai, and explore how they fit into the narrative. I'll focus on the motivations and roles, not specific events, because these characters are loaded with meaning. Yong Hai is the center of the story, but she's also its biggest enigma. She's a housewife in her late 20s or early 30s, living a quiet, unremarkable life in Seoul. At least that's how others see her. Her husband describes her as completely unremarkable in every way. But as the story unfolds, you realize she's anything but how her husband sees her. Yonghai's decision, sparked by her dreams, is a quiet act of defiance. But it's not loud or dramatic. It's deeply personal, almost spiritual, and it challenges the expectations placed on her as a woman, a wife, and a member of society. What I loved about Yonghai is how Han Kang portrays her in a world through fragments. Her dreams, her silences, her physicality. She's not a talkative character, which makes her feel distant yet intensely relatable. I saw her as someone wrestling with her own identity, trying to reclaim her body and mind in a world that demands conformity. Some readers interpret her as a feminist figure, others as a symbol of mental health struggles or even a connection to nature. Next up is Mr. Chong, Yonghai's husband, who narrates the first part of the book. Oh boy, this guy. He's a conventional, self absorbed office worker who chose Yonghai as a wife because she seemed passive and easy to manage. His narration is cold and detached, and it's clear he sees Yonghai as an extension of his own needs, not as a person with her own desires. When Yonghai's choice disrupts his comfortable routine, he reacts with irritation, then anger, and it reveals his deep seated need for control. I found Mr. Chong fascinating because he's not a villain. He's painfully ordinary. He represents the patriarchy and societal norms that expect women to conform. But he's also just a guy who wants an easy life. Han Kang uses him to show how even normal people can perpetuate harm when their worldview is challenged. He's the kind of character you want to shake and say, "Wake up." But he also made me reflect on how we all cling to comfort zones. The brother in law, who narrates the second part, is a struggling video artist and Inhai's husband. He's more complex than Mr. Chong, and his perspective is, let's say, unsettling. He's drawn to Yonghai in a way that's both artistic and obsessive, seeing her as a muse for his creative work. His section explores themes of desire, beauty, and the line between inspiration and exploitation. Unlike Mr. Chong, he's not motivated by societal norms, he's more of a free spirit. But that doesn't make him good. His fascination with Yonghai raises questions about how we objectify others, even under the guise of art. I struggled with this character because he's so contradictory. He's sensitive and imaginative, but also deeply flawed. Han Kang uses him to explore how creativity can be both liberating and destructive. He's a reminder that even those who reject society's rules can cause harm. Finally, we have Inhai, Yonghai's older sister, who narrates the third part. Inhai is the most grounded of the narrators, running a cosmetics shop and trying to hold her family together. She's the one who grapples most directly with Yonghai's transformation, and her perspective is full of guilt, love, and self-reflection. Inhai is fascinating because she's caught between her own desires and the expectations placed on her as a daughter, sister, and wife. Her section feels like a reckoning as she questions her own choices and the society she's part of. Inhai broke my heart. She's so human, carrying the weight of her family's dysfunction while trying to understand Yonghai. She represents the culture to balance personal freedom with responsibility, and Han Kang uses her to explore sisterhood and sacrifice. I saw her as the emotional core of the book. These characters are so layered, and what's brilliant is how Han Kang shows their flaws without judging them outright. They're all shaped by their culture, their desires, and their limitations, and they reveal so much about the story's themes. Now let's dive into Han Kang's writing style, which is honestly one of the reasons this novel is so unforgettable. She's a master of what I'd call poetic precision. Her prose, translated beautifully by Deborah Smith, is spare yet lyrical, with every sentence carrying weight. It's like she's painting with words, vivid, evocative, and sometimes unsettling. The book is about 180 pages, but it feels so dense because of how much meaning she packs into each moment. Han blurs the line between human and non human, which ties into the story's themes of transformation and identity. The three-part structure is another genius move. Each narrator has a distinct voice. Mr. Chong is cold and utilitarian, the brother in law is sensual and fragmented, and In Hai is introspective and heavy with emotion. This shifts the tone of the book, making it feel like three interconnected novellas. It's disorienting at times, but it mirrors the story's exploration of perspective. Nobody sees Yong Hai the same way, and we're left piecing her together like a puzzle. I also want to talk about the translation because it's been a point of debate. Deborah Smith learned Korean in her 20s and translated this book in collaboration with Han Kang, which is incredible. Some critics have argued the translation takes liberties, but Han Kang herself approved it. And I think it captures the book's haunting beauty. The prose feels alive even if it's not a word for word match to the Korean original. It's a reminder of how translation is a God level skill. Han Kang's style isn't for everyone. If you prefer fast paced plots or clear resolutions, this book might frustrate you. It's slow, introspective, and ambiguous, which is part of its power. It forces you to sit with discomfort and ask hard questions. For me, the writing felt like a meditation. It's not about what happens, but how it makes you feel. Okay, let's get personal. What's my take on The Vegetarian? In a word, haunting. This book crawled under my skin and stayed there. I loved how it challenged me to think about freedom, control, and what it means to be human. Yong Hai's journey felt like a quiet rebellion against a world that tries to define her. And it made me reflect on the ways we all navigate societal pressures. The characters, especially In Hai, broke my heart with their flaws and struggles. And the writing was like nothing I've read before. Beautiful, unsettling, and profound. That said, it's not an easy read. It's heavy, sometimes disturbing, and it doesn't wrap things up neatly. I struggled with the ambiguity at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I appreciated how it mirrors real life. There aren't always clear answers. This book is a masterpiece, but it's not for casual reading. It demands your attention and rewards you with layers of meaning. The Vegetarian is a must read for anyone who loves literary fiction that pushes boundaries. It's a book that challenges you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and the world. The slow pace of the book might not click for everyone, but honestly, it's a work of art. So, who is The Vegetarian for? I'd recommend it to readers who love literary fiction, especially if you enjoy authors like Haruki Murakami, Margaret Atwood, or Shirley Jackson. It's perfect for those who don't mind dark, thought provoking stories that linger. If you're into feminist literature, psychological dramas, or books that explore cultural identity, this is for you. It's also great for book clubs because there's so much to discuss. Trust me, you'll be debating Yonghai's choices for hours. On the flip side, if you prefer action packed plots, happy endings, or light reads, this might not be your cup of tea. It's intense and requires patience. But if you're up for the challenge, it's worth it. Oh, and if you're vegan or vegetarian, you might find Yong Hai's journey especially resonant. Though it's not a vegan manifesto, sorry, no recipes here. This book is for anyone ready to wrestle with big questions and embrace a story that's as beautiful as it is unsettling. And that's a wrap on the deep dive into The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I had a blast unpacking this book, and I hope you're as obsessed with it as I am. Want to keep the conversation going? Leave a comment with your thoughts on The Vegetarian. If you're inspired to read this book, grab a copy using the affiliate links in the description. It helps support the channel. If you enjoyed this review, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already and press that bell icon so that you are notified of whenever I upload a new video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay happy. Thanks for watching. Lots of love. Bye-bye.